All right, so OpenClaw 4.22 is here, and wow, this one is a big deal. Seriously, it's packed with stuff that's going to completely change the game for AI builders. So let's just get right into it, because if you're working with AI, and especially with voice agents, you need to hear about this.
So, let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to build a voice AI and just gotten frustrated? You know what I'm talking about. You want this smooth, natural, real-time conversation, but what you end up with sounds, well, slow, kind of robotic. It's got those awkward, clunky pauses that just completely ruin the whole vibe. Okay, so that's exactly what OpenClaw 4.22 is here to fix. I mean, think about how it was before, right? You were dealing with crazy high latency, you were pretty much locked into one or two super expensive vendors, and the setup process was, let's just say, not fun. Well, all of that, it's gone. Now we're talking about actual real-time streaming, the freedom to pick and choose your providers, and an onboarding experience that's just so much smoother. So, the main event here, the big headline, is really the end of that sluggish AI. We're finally getting away from those awkward, robotic delays and stepping into a world of real-time, natural conversations.
And this really lays out the old problem, right? The reason those voice agents felt so slow was this thing called batch processing. Most providers made you wait for the entire audio clip to finish before they even started thinking about a response. And that's where that horrible, 2-second gap came from. On top of that, your only real choices for real-time were OpenAI or XAI. That meant you were stuck and it was expensive.
But now, with 4.22, this is a total revolution for voice agents. I'm not exaggerating. The entire game has changed. Developers now have so much more power, and maybe even more importantly, so much more choice.
And here it is, the big news. It is no longer a two-horse race, not even close. The ecosystem has just blown wide open. We're talking 5 providers. Yeah, you heard me right. 5 different providers now support real-time voice streaming right inside OpenClaw. So look at this roster. Of course, you've still got OpenAI and XAI, but now you've also got DeepGram, 11 Labs, and Mistral joining the real-time streaming party. This is huge. It means you can finally pick the right tool for the job. Need something more affordable? You got it. Need a specific feature? You have options. Need the absolute best accuracy? You can choose that now.
And while we're on the topic of providers, we have to talk about XAI's Grok. It just got a massive, massive upgrade. We're talking about serious image generation, 6 new text-to-speech voices that sound unbelievably human, and even their own speech-to-text model. What this means is you can now run the entire end-to-end voice loop from start to finish just on Grok. And get this, the cost is way, way lower than trying to do the same thing with OpenAI. But again, that choice is everything. Let's say you're building something that has to handle phone calls with all sorts of accents or tons of background noise. Well, DeepGram is going to be your go-to. It's pretty much the gold standard for accuracy in those really messy real-world scenarios. Oh, and 11 Labs got a nice little update too, with their Scribe v2 for batch transcription, so you've got even more tools in your toolbox. Okay, so all these new provider options are fantastic, right? But what about the day-to-day experience for us, the developers? Because it's not just about the cool new features, it's about how easy it is to actually use them, and that's the other half of this story. This update is all about reducing friction so you can spend less time fighting with your tools and more time building.
Let's be honest, onboarding could be a real pain before. You'd pick your providers and channels, and then if you were missing a plugin, you wouldn't find out until later when some bizarre, impossible-to-debug error popped up. Total nightmare. Well, now it's just seamless. You pick what you want, and OpenClaw automatically figures out what's missing and just installs it for you. Like, poof, done. That's how it should have always worked, really. Okay, this next one, this is a game changer for your workflow. You can now add a new model on the fly right from the chat with a simple command /models_add. Just think about the old way. You had to go find a config file, edit it, save it, and then restart the entire gateway. Now, it's instant. No restart. Seriously, no restart required. You have no idea how incredible that feels until you're in the middle of something and just need to try a new model.
And here's another one for all of us who work on laptops or just need to spin up a quick test. There's a new local embed mode. This means you can run a chat right in your terminal without needing the main gateway running in the background. It is perfect for those quick little experiments or if you just don't need the whole shebang running 24/7.
All right, so we've covered the new toys and the better workflow. Now let's get into the stuff under the hood, the power-ups and performance boosts that make everything feel faster, stronger, and truly enterprise-ready.
First off, speed. Check this out. Plugin loading time is up to 90% faster. Let me say that again. 90%. That's not some tiny optimization you might not notice. This is a night and day difference that you will feel the very first time you start it up. The whole platform just feels alive.
And it's not just the plugins. They've also cut down the Docker non-interactive runtime by 74% thanks to some clever lazy loading. So all these changes just add up. The entire system is just more responsive, more efficient, from top to bottom.
They've also bundled in this really cool new tool called Token Juice. What it does is pretty simple but brilliant. It's an opt-in plugin that takes all that messy, noisy code that your tools spit out and cleans it up. And this does two amazing things for you. One, it literally saves you money on your token bill, and two, it keeps your model's context window from getting cluttered, which means you get much better, more focused answers.
And for all the pro and enterprise users out there, this update has some crucial fixes you've been waiting for. Claude Opus 4.7 on AWS Bedrock? It actually works correctly now. Need to send logs to support? You can now export clean diagnostic bundles. Plus, they've added smarter reasoning defaults and finally squashed that really annoying WhatsApp message spam bug. Just a ton of solid, important improvements.
So, when you step back and look at all of this together, the new providers, the better developer experience, the massive speed boosts, what does it all mean? What does this update really unlock? Well, it feels like we're turning a page. This is the start of a new era for AI development, one where the old barriers are just gone.
So let's break it down. Here are the key takeaways from the 4.22 revolution. Voice agents are now fast, affordable, and something everyone can build. The whole onboarding and setup process is just ridiculously easy now. You can add new models on the fly without restarting anything. The entire platform has gotten huge speed and stability boosts. And finally, enterprise users get the proper AWS Bedrock support they've needed. This is a huge leap forward, plain and simple.
And all of this really leads to one final big question. Now that so many of those frustrating technical hurdles and financial walls have been torn down, the field is wide open. It really makes you wonder, right? With all this new power at your fingertips, what are you going to build next?